Hey, this is James from Vader. You're listening to the Metal Meltdown with Dave Softee on Metal Messiah Radio.
Alrighty, Metal Maniacs, here we go. Please help me welcome back to Metal Messiah Radio, hailing from Poland, outstanding drummer of legendary Polish death thrash metal band Vader, also of German death metal band Deny the Urge, as well as melodic death thrash metal band Bloodshot Dawn, and melodic death thrash band Divine Chaos from the UK, amongst others. Let's hear it for Mr. James Stewart.
Hey man, how's it going?
Welcome to the Metal Meltdown, James. It's our first time getting together here, but I do know that you've been a guest on Metal Messiah Radio previously, and I want to thank you for taking the time to be here to do this. And how are you doing out there?
Yeah, great. We just come back from a tour. Everything's really, really good. You know, getting back into the home life for a little bit before we start again.
Exactly, right. And as you mentioned, as you know, my associate from France, Ofe, caught up with you at one of your shows and approached you about the possibility of coming on the Metal Meltdown for an interview. That being said, I thank you very much for this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to doing a special with you to discuss all the bands that you're associated with. What I'm very interested to know is, from your point of view, which bands or which bands do you consider your main band?
Well, you know, Vader has got to be the priority in terms of, you know, if I have a clash with gigs, then the Vader one is always the one that takes precedence. Because, well, that's the most established band, and I joined that band with that understanding,
Right.
and that was always the understanding between everyone else in terms of the other projects that I'm doing. So that's always been very clear. And then when it comes to bands outside of Vader, I don't really consider anyone to be a main band. I just try and do as much as I can, assuming I'm free from any Vader duties, you know. And then yeah, that's really all there is to it, you know. I try and treat every band equally. So if I've got gigs booked first, I'll try and honor those rather than any other way to do it. That seems to be the most fair way of doing that. And we have fill-ins for everything, so everything's kind of secure.
Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from, and that does make a lot of sense. And I would have to say that 2017 looks like it has been a very busy year for you. Let's start with Vader, and that's where my associate Ofe caught up with you, and you were touring with Creator in support of the Dark Age offering, which is a recreation of Vader's debut offering, The Ultimate Incantation, which is a really special release honoring the 25th anniversary of Vader. So would you be able to share with us some special moments from your tour and what you expect next from future touring with Vader and any other news you may have associated with Vader?
Well, man, the tour was killer, really, really killer from start to finish. You know, like it's hard to pick up a highlight because every day was pretty much a highlight. You know, the Creator guys, they're really, really super cool, easy people to tour with. The crew are good friends of ours as well, and everything is just every day was so easy. You know, it was just easy, and the shows were great. And man, what can I say? It was a really, really pleasant experience. It's always really nice when you tour with people like Creator and you discover that they're really, really nice in real life as well. So that was a nice boost for us.
Excellent. Any of those shows stand out especially for you that were really, really special? I mean, I'm hearing
I
you
think
that
Athens was fucking blinding, yeah. But I mean, really, every single one was absolutely killer. The crowds were always really good. They were very receptive to the first album, which is not always something that people were familiar with. Yeah, man, seriously, it was just every day was just killer. It was really, really good.
That's great to hear that. And you're originally from the UK, and
Yeah.
do I assume that you've been living in Poland ever since you joined up with Vader?
No, I've been living in Poland for around about a year now.
I see.
Just over a year. Yep.
Does it make it more convenient for you to be there for Vader when you're there in Poland, or?
Yes and no. It actually doesn't make a huge amount of difference. Not everybody from Vader is spread out all over Poland. So we only generally come together in terms of rehearsal or recording an album or something just before. And so it actually hasn't made a huge amount of difference logistically. The biggest difference has been summer festivals, because now we can all travel from Poland and go into Germany or France or wherever.
I hear you. Very nice. And what shows or what tours you have coming up in the near future with Vader that we could spread the word on?
With Vader, we are going to be hitting Poland and some select places in Europe with the headline shows, where we'll be playing the first album again in its entirety, places that we didn't manage to play on the Creator run. And then at the same time, we'll be doing support for Annihilator and Testament. So we've got a couple of fill-in headline shows that fill in the days off, or there's about a week where Testament and Annihilator are going to Russia, but we're not coming with them.
Oh.
So we're going to go off on our own back through Lithuania and Germany and play some headline shows there.
Nice. And is there any news on any future new music from Vader? Is there anything in the works? Are you guys writing for a new album, or is that something that
Yeah,
you're...
we're getting ideas together. The plan is to wind up touring after the summer season. We're planning to do a little bit of touring in fall, autumn. Then we're going to start focusing on the new record, assuming that no major tours come up or anything last minute, which sometimes does happen.
Oh, of course. You never know, right? Especially if you have things that you have planned, but if you have things that are not planned and they just happen to fall on your lap, yeah, I understand.
The vague plan right now is to sort of start tracking at the end of the year.
All right, congratulations on that.
But we'll see what happens in reality.
Yeah, well, we know it's going to be great whatever you do, whenever you do it. So keep in touch with us so that we can support the making of the new Vader offering. And when the Vader music is ready to be spread out there, we'll spread the word on that as well. So thank you for filling us all in on what's going on with Vader and the Vader shows. We do appreciate that.
No worries, man.
How about we go talk about Bloodshot Dawn at this time?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's talk about the new album, Reanimation, out on Hostile Media Records, based in the UK. First, who makes up the rest of Bloodshot Dawn?
Oh, that would be Josh McMorran, who's the vocalist and the last founding member of the band left. I've known Josh for about going on 10 years or something. We were when I was in smaller bands playing with Bloodshot Dawn back in the very early 2000s when we were all kids. Then there's Morgan, who's the lead guitarist from Canada. Very good young virtuoso, very, very killer guitarist. And there's Giacomo Gastaldi, who is the bass player, who's ex-Berkeley student or Berkeley graduate, and a very, very, very good bass player whom I have yet to meet in person, actually.
That's interesting. Wow. And also, from what I understand, you have a nice variety of special guests on the offering as well.
Yeah, there's a few. The most notable of which is Jeff Loomis.
Yes, of Arch Enemy and Nevermore.
Yeah.
And you have also Paul Waddingham from Abigail Williams and The Faceless. Also Ken Sorceron as well.
Yeah, Ken did guest vocals on a track, and there's plenty of guests on the record. Frankly, I haven't even been able to keep up with all the guests because a lot of them are guitarists, and I'm not particularly well versed in the guitar virtuoso world. But there's been plenty of amazing guests on the record.
Yeah, that's what I understand. And Mendel from Aborted also. So there's a lot of guests. That makes this a really special recording.
Yeah, absolutely. But the guests have really, really helped add a lot of flavor to the record, you know. But it's mostly down to Morgan and Josh's songwriting. You know, they've taken the album in quite a different direction from the other two, and that's been really, really quite refreshing, I think, for the band. A lot of people seem to be digging the record, so we're very happy.
That's excellent. And let's learn more about the Reanimation release. Where was this recorded, mixed, mastered, and produced?
So it was recorded, the drums were tracked in the Czech Republic at Babylon Studios with Tomáš and Tomáš. So it's a really cool studio. It's a new studio, but it's very good. The guys are also part of a band called Modern Day Babylon out of the Czech Republic, which is a really cool sort of progressive modern metal band. They're really, really good. Yeah, the rest of it was all done with, the guitars were tracked somewhere in Germany. I'm not exactly sure where. But somewhere in Leipzig, as far as I remember, and then everything was mixed. Vocals and the mixing and mastering were done with Per Nielsen from Scar Symmetry, and who's now filling in for Meshuggah.
Very nice.
So they were done with him in Sweden. The sound is excellent. We're all very happy with the final mix and master.
Yeah, it's killer release. And I noticed also there's a couple of lyric videos out there: Survival, Evolve,
yes,
and Reanimation.
That's correct.
This is very cool. And can we learn more about these videos, and if there's any chance for possibly more music videos or more lyrical videos?
The next music video is coming.
Very nice.
It's going to be released very, very shortly. It was recorded, unfortunately, it was recorded without me. We had the drummer from Hideous Divinity fill in during the UK tour that was just now, because I was on Vader duty, unfortunately. Right. So they recorded the video at the same time, and that was Giuliano doing that for me. But he looks pretty similar, so I guess it will be okay.
Yeah, right. And yeah, so it's not easy for you to be in more than one band at one time, especially if you're on tour. So yeah, it's kind of tough for you to be.
That was one of those last minute tours, the Vader Creator run as well. It was unfortunate to miss out on the first Bloodshot Dawn tour with the new record, but unfortunately that's how it went down this time. But I'm confirmed for some things with Bloodshot Dawn coming up this year, so
that's good.
That's good. So it's going to be better. I finally get to play some of the songs that I helped make soon.
That'll be nice. That is good news. What they need to do is they need to clone James Stewart so he could play with all his bands. But that's somewhere down the future, right? No, but anyway, what shows are coming up for the band that we could share with the listeners? Anything?
Bloodshot are going to be hitting Canada. Again, that's unfortunately without me. I'm assuming that they're going to do the Canadian run around the same time where Vader is out with Testament, and then Bloodshot has been confirmed for Hellfest in France and Techfest in the UK. There's a couple more announcements coming soon, but they'll be announced shortly.
Very nice. When we hear about it, we'll support it, spread the word. And I want to give a couple of links for Bloodshot Dawn. I want to give the Facebook, of course, facebook.com/Bloodshot Dawn, and the Bandcamp, bloodshotdawn.bandcamp.com. I love to talk about how the fans need to support the bands by getting the merch and getting the CD. So where would you say would be the best place for a fan of Bloodshot Dawn to actually get the physical copy of the CD and whatever merch might be available for the fans? Where would you say would be the best place?
The physical copies are all available on the Bandcamp. The same thing goes for the merch as well. It's all available from the Bandcamp, and it's all available from the shows. So if you're around from one of the shows, that's always the easiest way to get the merch. But yeah, failing that, the Bandcamp's always running.
Excellent. I'm glad they gave that link. People check it out, get merch, support this fantastic band, Bloodshot Dawn. Excellent. And thank you for keeping us up to date with that. Now, let's talk about another band you're involved in, Deny the Urge. And
well, yeah, that was more of an actual session rather than a full band at the time. But I managed to make it out for one show at the start of the year, the first show, actually. And we're going on a show-by-show basis at the moment.
I see.
But it was definitely a lot of fun to record the record. I'm very proud of my work and very proud of what Henrik managed to do with that record because it's very, very brutal.
Yeah, As Darkness Falls is released, and that came out on GUC Records based in Germany. And let's learn what we can about As Darkness Falls. What studio was this recorded, mixed, mastered, and produced in?
It was mixed and mastered and tracked in Germany. Again, I'm not entirely sure on the studio, but the drums we did with Scott Atkins in the UK Grindstone Studio, which is where also I do a number of sessions, a number of recordings, because Scott Atkins is by far the best there is for tracking drums, in my opinion.
Very nice. And would you please explain to the fans out there who makes up the rest of this band's lineup?
For the record, I mean, really, it was mostly Henrik, but now there's a new bass player and a new guitarist again, another young guy, a guy called Max, who's excellent guitarist, really nailing the solos. There was a guest solo on there from Spider, from Vader, and this guy's managing to nail that, which is pretty impressive for a guy of his age.
I see. Now, were you saying that Deny the Urge, you were basically like a session musician for this, so you don't consider this really like being a full-time member of the band, or how do you see yourself within Deny?
Well, it's hard to say, you know. It's hard to, with a band like Deny the Urge that are wanting to get busier. It's hard to say where it's going to be in the future. For the meantime, I'm handling the drumming duties when I can, and so far there's only been one gig this year, so that's not been too much of a commitment. But we'll have to see later on what that means.
I see.
You know, so it's
one day at a time with Deny the Urge.
One day at a time, yeah. One show on a show-by-show basis at the moment. It's not fair on those guys if they have to cancel shows because of me either. But it's also hard to find anyone that can handle that stuff, especially because it's very up-tempo, very brutal, and quite complicated as well.
Yeah, I'm sure for you it's not very easy being such an outstanding drummer that you are, and to be yourself, to be spread amongst various projects, because you spread yourself very too thin, maybe, and to be able to be performing with all these bands that you're associated with. Like I said, they need to clone you to be able to do this, and maybe at that point we could see a lot of things happening with all these other bands as well. But for now, we just have to wait for the future, and then when we know what's going on with Deny the Urge, we can start spreading the word on that. So if you have any future shows or anything going on with that, as far as videos even, or even new music, please keep in touch with us so we can know.
Well, what we have done a couple of videos for the meantime. They will be released pretty shortly. But again, I'm just working on the edits at the moment.
Very nice. Could we mention the titles of the videos they'll be for?
Yeah, they'll be for a song called On the Surface, which is a kind of slow death metal track, and then there's a song called Voices, which is much more short, snappy, brutal type tune.
I see. Great. Well, once these are released, we will be sharing them on all our pages. And do you see a time frame where the videos will be released anytime soon?
As soon as I'm done with them, really.
Yeah. So you've been busy, so we have to cut you some slack on this. You know. All right. Thank you for the information for Deny the Urge. Very interesting. And now we get to another band that I really enjoy, Divine Chaos. And I have to tell you, A New Dawn in the Age of War that came out in 2014. I totally love this album, and it's been a few years since this debut offering out there, and I have to tell you, your fans are eagerly awaiting new music from Divine Chaos. What is the latest news that we could share about Divine Chaos?
Well, we've been busy at the moment tracking the single, so that's pretty much ready to go.
Excellent.
As far as I know, we're waiting on the final mix and things like that. So there's a lot more coming with regard to DC this year.
Excellent.
We don't have much in the way of shows, but we're focusing on getting the second album actually, getting the songwriting nailed, and then getting it tracked properly. And so we're hoping to have that ready to go by the end of the year as well.
Excellent news. And what's the name of the tune you're actually working on now?
The tune's coming out is going to be called Decivilized.
Civilized, very nice. And do you have a working title for the upcoming release from Divine Chaos? Are you able to mention that?
You mean the album?
Yes.
No, all of our working titles are absolutely stupid anyway. So I
Uh,
don't know.
it's
Yeah, we our working titles are jokes generally. So I don't think we're there yet with the title for the album. I think we'll have to see what happens lyrically throughout the album, because most of them are still in the structural stage in terms of riffs.
totally
So
understand that.
once
Yes.
all the lyrics are sorted, then we'll have a much more clear picture of what we're going to want to call the album.
All right, I understand that. When the time is right, we'll know. I just had to ask.
Exactly.
Right. And James, are there any other bands that you would like to mention that you're currently active in, participating in? Any projects that you'd like to mention?
Yeah. There's a prog rock band from the UK also called Machine, which we released the second album in 2016, an album called Naturalis, and we've been doing a few festivals and shows supporting that. I think we're going to get to work on album 3 fairly soon, and then the rest is various sessions. I mean, I think I forget which bands I'm in, honestly,
I can
at the
imagine.
moment.
I can imagine. And you've given us a lot of information throughout the bands that we've discussed already. So just for that, I have to give you kudos because you've been very busy with touring and you're just the fact that
Yeah,
you're
it's
involved
it's
in all this
it's
stuff. It's amazing that you could remember anything, really.
when I go on tour, it all seems to it gets very hard to keep up
I
with
can,
all the other bands while I'm so focused on just doing one of them.
yeah, I can imagine that. That's only natural, bro. And would you like to talk about your drum kit, James, and about any endorsements that you may have?
Been
We'll get
using Tama drums now for about 5 years.
Tama drums. Okay, very nice.
Yeah, and the same goes with Minor Cymbals. I've been using them for about 5 years as well. Yeah, fantastic brands, both of them. Couldn't ask for better drums or better cymbals, really, or better support. They've both been really, really supportive of my career for the last 5 years. So looking forward to the next 5. As for sticks, I've been using Los Cabos from Canada drumsticks for just around about 2 years now, and yeah, they're just amazing. They're not a big company, but they are very, very good, and they push their artists really. Um, they really push their artists, so it's a fantastic company to be a part of, and I'm really, really proud to be a part of that company.
This is excellent. And what you're using and how you make it sound, it's a win-win. So I'm very happy for you that you're happy with using the Tama and the sticks and everything and cymbals that you're using because it's working out very well. The quality of the sound is very rich and excellent in everything that you do there.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't take an endorsement if I wasn't into the company 100%. You know, it's always tempting, you know, when you're offered free stuff or discount stuff, but you know, these are companies that I genuinely believe are making the best equipment, at least for me personally in my playing style. So I'm always stoked to be a part of these companies, you know.
This is excellent. And I'm just interested in what you do in your spare time. That means if you have any spare time, actually, because you are so
Yeah,
busy.
you know, I actually have a surprising amount of spare time. It's not, it always sounds really busy when I talk about it, but actually it's not quite as crazy as it sounds, you know. But so when I'm home, if I get a few days at home like I have right now, then I'm home. I'm spending time with friends, with my girlfriend, with family, and then in the meantime, I'm doing whatever I can to either keep my brain healthy. So I'm trying to read a lot of stuff, or I like to go climbing when I get the chance, or just just hitting the gym, whatever would keep me active, you know, during downtime.
So you live a healthy lifestyle, it sounds like to me.
Do my best.
Yeah, that's the good news.
Do my best, but I'm a sugar and pizza and junk food fiend, so not quite as healthy as all that, but still
You do a lot
do
of
what
working out because you look healthy. You look very thin and able to do what you're doing with the drum kit and all that.
no, I try and do more running, more cardio than anything else, just to keep just to stay in reasonable condition during downtime, so that I'm kind of ready to get back on it once we start touring. Because generally, once we start touring, I don't have too many opportunities for that, because the days are very, very busy with the setup, the pack down, and all the stuff in between.
Exactly. That makes total sense. And James, is there anything that you would like to say to your fans out there around the world that have been tuning in at this time?
Well, just thank you for the support. Thank you for coming out to shows. Thank you for buying the records, man. It makes everything, it makes everything worthwhile. When I hear that younger drummers or any drummers are coming up to me after shows or whatever and saying that they like what I do or they're looking up to me or whatever, that's always a reward, and it makes everything totally worth it. So just thank you, everybody, and keep doing what you're doing.
Excellent. And you keep doing what you do, James. And I want to thank you very much for this opportunity. I've truly loved talking with you about all your bands and your projects. And we definitely learned lots today talking with you. This past year, like I said, has been very busy for you. So I hope in the future you don't suffer from a burnout so that you're able to do what you do. And I want to wish you and every band that you're associated with a really great and productive 2018. And may you get even more success for you in the years to come. So keep doing what you do and keep in touch. And I look forward to the future possibilities of getting with you for future interviews to keep the people out there informed on everything that you do. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I really have enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, we'll have to have a chat again when the albums are actually out.
Absolutely.
When they're all done by 2019 and 2020 or whatever, then we'll be able to talk about how wrong I was about some of this shit or whatever.
It'll be fun to talk about it and talk about the reality of it and what your hopes were on it and everything related to it. It will make for a great interview. So I want to thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed talking about it as much as we loved hearing about it.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. It's always nice to have a chance to discuss other things outside of Vader as well. So,
oh yeah,
thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, well, our pleasure. And I just wanted to make this show something special, more than just a normal interview. Being that you have all these bands that you're associated with, I felt it's only right to talk about all these other bands.